we're working with. We have also collaborated with the YMCA. Working with the YMCA, we have delivered the training to some 130 sites across the country. Some, 50,000 families have been reached. We're getting ready to roll out our second evaluation that really tells you how effective the program and the reach has been. We're very excited about the curriculum. We work in conjunction with our La Promesa network. These are some 200 local organizations. They're not national organizations, they're local organizations, and they've aligned with us. And we deliver advocacy for them, our training and technical assistance. I guess what is unique about this is that it is developed by us and for us and in partnership with business and government. So I'm going to stop now, but I'm excited to share that with you this morning. Check us out at www.nlci.org, and thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you. Maritza?
Buenos días, ¿cómo estamos?
Bien.
Bien, 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 bien. Well, my name is Maritza Kelly. I'm here on behalf of First Focus Campaign for Children, and we're a nonpartisan organization dedicated to making children and families a priority in federal budget and policy decisions. And I actually want to take a moment to recognize some of my very talented and dedicated colleagues here in the room. Megan McHugh, Megan Curran, and Maddie Daniels. And I want to thank Latino Magazine for hosting this forum. And it was really important that they were able to host the summit before the end of the Mayan calendar. But it turns out the Mayans weren't predicting the end of the world. They're predicting the fiscal cliff. And the end of tax credits.
Exactly.
But right now for First Focus, the fiscal cliff and the budgetary discussions are really going to make a huge impact on the immediate future of our children and the long-term economic security of our country. And as it really relates to Latino children, children generally make up 30% of the U.S. population. So this is a huge constituency we're talking about. And as many of our advocates today have mentioned, 1 in 4 children are Latino, and our Latino children, in many instances, are not receiving the supports they need to really thrive, to pursue, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so we have 1 in 3 children experiencing hunger, 1 in 3 Latino children experiencing hunger, and 1 in 3 Latino children living in poverty. And that's not a coincidence that those numbers mirror one another. And so right now in these budget discussions, we have several components of the family safety net that are at risk of being cut. We're going to hear a lot today about SNAP, which is hugely important, WIC, hugely important, the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit and unemployment insurance, all very critical pieces of a family's safety net. And we're just getting out of the throes of a huge economic recession, and many families with children have not recovered from that recession. In fact, 6 million children are still living in families with an unemployed parent, and about half those, 3 million, with a parent who have been unemployed for more than 6 months. And as we know, if you break it out per geographic area, Latinos have been, are experiencing unemployment rates at higher levels than other demographic groups. And so at First Focus, we have a very dedicated staff working to raise awareness on Capitol Hill and with other advocates and very important coalition partners to bring this attention to the attention of our elected leaders. And we have some materials on the back table when this wraps up. But thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, Maritza, if I could begin with you, just to follow up. You know, I've been trying to figure out how you say the fiscal cliff in Spanish. Is it precipicio económico or acantilado fiscal?
We could take a poll.
But give us your perspective on what's happening now. What's happening right now on Capitol Hill, and how's that going to impact some of these issues?
Well, you know, you have kind of the perfect storm of several things emerging. The Farm Bill is up for reauthorization, and is about to expire. A series of tax credits, particularly the child tax credit, the earned income tax credit, are also set to expire. And then you have this debate around sequestration, and if a budget agreement isn't reached before the end of the year, then you know, across the board automatic cuts, which are going to impact a huge number of programs that benefit kids. And I think you know, all cuts are not created equally. And that's kind of what's the approach to some of this sequestration cuts. There's certain cuts who are going to impact certain populations more than others, and Latino children are one of those constituencies.
Mm-hmm. One question here, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Aurelia Sevis, and I'm the Health Graduate Fellow with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. It's a follow-up question, but with our newly elected Congress that has more Latinos elected to Congress than ever before, how do we plan to leverage the changing face of Congress to address this issue more prominently on the national scale?
Is that an open question to anybody? I have the good fortune of knowing the chair of the CHCI very well. Congressman Hinojosa is my former boss. I served as his chief of staff his first 10 years in Congress. So I have already talked to him about all of these issues. I know that he is working to reorganize the caucus, and the CHCI has always had a health task force, and this issue comes under that task force. So we have our legislative agenda, and we're going to be working very closely with the caucus. We also have already worked very closely with Congressman Grijalva. We just did a National Latino Children's Summit in Phoenix, and Congressman Grijalva and Congressman Pastor were both very involved. But we have 30 members in that caucus. It's the largest we've ever had. I've had the pleasure of meeting all of these new members, and they are all really great advocates. And I think as a community, we give them our agenda, and then we hold them accountable.
Who's got another question for our panelists?
Hi. I've been reading a lot about communities, communities that are planting vegetables, their own vegetables for children and for seniors. Are your organization involved in anything like that? Communities building or planting their own vegetables to feed and get healthy and nutritious food?
Yeah, we're not, but that's a great idea. You know, that's another great idea. I think the First Lady's done a wonderful job of promoting it, and frankly, she deserves a round because of the kind of focus that she has on obesity and of course the flip side, hunger. But it's a great idea, and we actually are working in tandem with the White House on this issue, and we have disseminated to our groups all of the work that I don't know of one that's doing that, but it doesn't mean it isn't being done, because it's certainly a very popular and well-known idea.
Right, and I know at USDA, we promote sort of community and school-based gardens in a variety of ways. We have something we call the People's Garden Initiative. So if you go to the mall, to USDA, And out front, we have our very own garden. And then we have people's gardens that we've either funded or supported through technical assistance and other ways all over the country, particularly on federal property. It's been a big push of ours. And then we have a variety of smaller pots of money that support in different ways gardens, particularly in schools. So we've got something called Team Nutrition, which is a funding source, including grants that go to states and onto schools. So many of those support gardens or garden curriculum or both. We had a small pilot program funded in the 2010 appropriation, a school garden pilot program that's operating in a number of states. And with that, we're actually measuring the impact on that, of school gardens on the change in consumption patterns among students. So, tying that curriculum and saying, is this a medium to really help educate students about healthy eating because they feel much more connected. I'll never forget, I once did an event with Sesame Street. One of the Sesame Street characters was talking about healthy food, and they asked where carrots came from. And the response from the child was, they come from the grocery store. So they'd never seen a carrot. They had no idea that carrots grew in the ground, that they were long, that they didn't come, as little baby carrots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it's, as an initiative to bring to scale to solve hunger, I think it would be one of many strategies. It's certainly hard to bring, if you look at the sheer number of numbers around hunger and what you can produce in a community garden, that's not the only solution. But it's part of a solution, of many solutions, and has many other benefits.
Yeah,
as well.
Sodexo as well as through the school districts that we obviously serve and partner with, and our partnership with the White House and Let's Move campaign, we have about 7 or 9 school districts that have pilots approved by Michelle Obama, and the gardening managed and maintained by the students is one of the programs that we're involved with. It isn't to scale, to your point, but I think it is really a great way to educate from an early stage. I mean, the children are 5th and 6th grader in middle school, so that's really a great age to create an impact on them, and as a result, they go home and they talk about it to their parents, who really feel that buying vegetable is much more expensive than buying other canned goods. When parents do hear it from their children, it does create some change.
Well, Lourdes, perhaps you and Rita would invite First Lady Obama on our behalf to participate in next year's No Mas Hambres. It's just a great program.
Yeah.
Some of this discussion speaks to the issue of food deserts in the inner city, and I think that's why the urban gardening tied to urban renewal is critical. I've seen a lot of that in Detroit, with a lot of these bombed out neighborhoods are turning into these houses that were once crack houses. They tear them down and create community gardens in inner city, which I think is critical. And it also speaks to an issue that one of our partners, Service Master, is very involved with, the idea of creating green spaces. And both those issues speak to childhood obesity, which is really an epidemic, particularly in the Southwest among Latino children. I wonder if any of you could address the issue of childhood obesity and how we can address that through these types of issues.
Well, Sodexo, as it pertains to our school line of business as well as healthcare, child obesity right now is one of the top priorities. Number one, because as it was referenced before, a child who's hungry is not going to be able to excel in school. In my space, we're overseeing 3 programs. We partner with Maldiv, we partner with